What's up, you beautiful Redditors? Hope you're having a fantastic Saturday. Welcome to the RNEWS Morning Show. And let's just jump into it. From r/politics, Trump, Americans who died in war are losers and suckers. He also said that he didn't understand why the United States would intervene on the side of the Allies. What is this timeline, even? He ignored a Russian attack on our election and bounty on our troops. His main takeaway from 9/11 was that his building was ranked taller. Why wouldn't he have ignored Pearl Harbor or the Zimmerman telegram? He would have sent back the Jews coming here fleeing the Holocaust too. Psych, we did that anyway. Frowning face www.google.com. As a former Republican, let me give you whippersnappers a history lesson. In the 2000 presidential primary, George Bush Jr. unfairly accused Senator John McCain, a POW and survivor of torture, of forgetting about the Vietnam POW MIA veterans. In 2004, John Kerry, a Purple Heart recipient, was swift voted. Boone Pickens is rotting in hell, by the way. In 2016, Trump began saying and doing everything that should have outraged the military community. Guess what? The Republican leadership doesn't care and Trump's base doesn't give a frick. The precedent has been set since 2000. Military life don't matter. Edited. He and his supporters are some of the biggest pussies alive. The Associated Press confirmed this story. Twitter.com. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/news. Washington man gets stunning souvenir with COVID-19 treatment, a $1.1 million bill. Up here in Canada, a guy who was in the hospital with coronavirus ending up paying almost $20 at the Tim Hortons in the lobby. There's currently a parliamentary subcommittee looking into why hospital patients aren't given complimentary coffee from Tim Hortons. I thought the #1 complaint about healthcare in Canada was parking fees. You are correct. I would send a notarized request to suck my dick. I'm a notary. Hit me up for a stamp. We refer you to the reply given in the case of Arkell v. Prestram. I don't know you, but I would become a notary just to notarize this request. I am a notary, and I am fully willing to notarize that request for free. But Flaw knows others may not be so lucky, and says he doesn't want to see people go into financial ruin because they get sick. That's been happening in this country for decades and our criminal rulers refuse to do anything about it. Rulers. Obama tried for like 8 solid years to push through the most watered-down socialized healthcare system possible, and half the people in this country lost their minds about it. Believe it or not, our country is the way it is because too many people are convinced they like it this way and vote accordingly. Thank you for sharing this sad news, you dick frick pussy suck. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/World News. An intelligence bulletin issued by the Department of Homeland Security warned that Russia is attempting to sow doubt about the integrity of the 2020 elections by amplifying false claims related to mail-in voting, resulting in widespread fraud. I mean, they are not wrong. Trump today just told his supporters to commit aforementioned fraud and called military members who died buttholes and losers. But his supporters will never see this news because Fox will never show it. Speaking strictly as someone who studied and finds propaganda interesting, this is going to be an election and presidency that will have thousands of studies done on it. Especially if there are any commissions or trials post-Trump that forces the truth out without their whitewashing Trump's position affords. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/politics. Trump reportedly called John McCain a f***ing loser and said, "We're not going to support that loser's funeral." This afternoon we learned that Trump had called American soldiers who died in WW1 losers and suckers. We also learned that, when visiting John Kelly's son's grave, Trump openly wondered why Kelly's son enlisted. Now this was someone holding on to all this and just waited for the election to frick him over. You're fricking kidding. I hate McCain, but how the frick do the right see this and vote for him? He hates you, he hates us, and he hates our vets. He hates you, he hates us, and he hates our vets. Trump's voters still think he's on their side, and at the very least they know he's not on the side of the people they hate and fear. Trump wants to hurt the same people they want to hurt, so they support him, even if it means hurting themselves in the process, it seems. I was curious how many people Trump has called a loser, besides John McCain and dead soldiers, and came across this. www.trumptwitterarchive.com. It's wild to see his tweets from pre-2016. Tweeting Katy Perry to tell her her husband is a loser and tweeting that his IQ is one of the highest. Seriously, how the frick did this man become president? What the frick happened to our standards? You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/World News. Merkel faces pressure to drop Russian gas pipeline after Navalny's poisoning. It would be really refreshing to see some decisions made solely on principle, but the world just doesn't seem to work that way. I agree, but I also don't know how much Germany relies on the gas and how long it would take to replace through alternate means, especially going into colder months. And how long it would take to replace through alternate means since the occupation of Ukraine. Or the very least, the assassinations by Russia in the UK. Germany should have been looking for alternatives. They've had plenty of time. At this point anything else is just excuses. Actually, Germany is already building a LNG terminal in Brunsbüttel, except that there are already some in other EU countries, e.g. Zeebrugge. Fact is, that Europe isn't dependent on Russian gas. It's just a bit cheaper and, let's be honest, only relying on the US with this president isn't the best option. Approximately a third of all imported gas is from Russia. And what role does gas play in the German energy mix? Oh right, not much at all. Natural gas is the dominant fuel for domestic heating. Talking about their electric energy mix is not that relevant here. ITT. Gas is important to Germany, so they have no leverage. Also ITT. Gas is not important to Germany, so they have tons of leverage. You're watching the RNEWS show. From r/News. Blue Lives Matter supporters arrested with slew of firearms outside Kenosha after police received tip about possible shooting, DOJ says. Wait, they had guns on them. Did the police shoot them? Surely they must have felt threatened. Sorry fellas, we have to take these guns from you. Would you mind driving yourself to the police station at your most convenient time so we can book you? Quote. Here, have a bottle of water. Don't forget to hydrate. Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? Police know Blue Lives Matter terrorists aren't targeting them and of course won't feel threatened. Unlike when they accost people of color. They're probably angry after centuries of oppression. Better get them before they get us. Hot take here maybe, but as representatives of the state, it's their obligation to be entirely agnostic towards the protected speech of the various members of the public when they're keeping the peace at a demonstration. If the police are showing favoritism because one group of demonstrators is nicer to them, they're doing a really bad job of being police officers and implicitly infringing on the freedom of speech of the opposition members of the public. Maybe they should find a job that's more suitable to people who get as easily offended as they do. Both men had prior convictions that prohibited them from possessing firearms and ammunition. According to the DOJ, crazy that they could easily acquire an AR-15 and 12-gauge shotgun with priors in this country. Man, some people really love the Blue Man Group. And that's where we're going to end today's show. But if you like what you saw, leave a like, and if you want to see more of the RNEWS show, hit that subscribe button. As always, this has been the RNEWS show and I'll see you tomorrow.